We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin. And today, faithful acolytes, we take a look at this.
And what this is Louisiana Gold pepper sauce with Tabasco peppers. Now we've got spicy steak hot sauce. I don't know anybody that would put a Louisiana style sauce on steak. I certainly wouldn't. We got a recipe for some Louisiana pepper snip. And if you guys want to make that, here's the recipe, guys. If you want to make it, you need butter, garlic, shrimp, salt, black pepper, Louisiana Gold pepper sauce, parsley, and sour cream. And there you go. This is probably on their website. So we've got, when I see this, I see, okay, red Tabasco and aged red peppers, which usually means cayenne to me, but I think this one also uses jalapeno. And so this one is flavor with balanced heat. And oh, there's the steak sauce. I guess it wasn't saying that. I guess it wasn't saying it was an actual steak sauce. So we have unlisted peppers plus Tabasco. And let's see what we got here. Of course, we've got this incredibly runny sauce. And we've got, it looks like, the sort of perfume bottles that Tabasco themselves likes to use. Yeah, let's get that out of there. And so Tabasco has a restrictor cap actually molded into the glass. That's why they're using perfume. I'm assuming this one is as well, but let's look. Oh boy. Maybe if I get the cap open, there we go. Oh yeah, yep, see it's molded right into the glass. Okay. So again, we have, as is typical of most Louisiana style sauces, very watery and runny. Oh, whoa. Restrictor cap isn't working super well there. Whoa, baby. Here we go. Louisiana Gold, you can see there's a lot of more particles than might normally be in there in a Louisiana style sauce, which I'm presuming is from the pepper mash. This is this really gorgeous color, though. It's this sort of reddish orange. I love this color. This color is great. All right, let's get to tasting here before the soup just goes everywhere. Yeah. I mean, it does taste like a cayenne sauce, but you can see all this grit in the bottle there is usually a sign of jalapeno. So my suspicion is that it's both jalapeno and cayenne. Cayenne pepper. From what I've understood from some of the hot sauce purveyors out there, is that this is in very high demand. So there's precious little heat, getting just a touch, just a little skosh of back heat to this. And I would say it's, I mean, a default one really is where this is. Okay, so I have here a hot ham and cheese hot pocket. Now, again, we're in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic as I film this. So what is of interest to me is getting things that I won't have to get over and over again. So stuff that I can keep for a while, like frozen foods, things like that. And I don't particularly like the hot ham and cheese, but it did come in a pretty large freezer pack. And I mean, it's not like Hot Pockets are good, right? But how I got started, really the resurgence into hot sauce was because I was working a job where I was substantially underpaid. And so I was slumming it a lot. And you get tired of Hot Pockets, even if you find something you like. So to kind of, but they're cheap, right? They're relatively cheap. So what I would do to make them acceptable is I would start looking through different hot sauces. And that's really where stuff like Red Devil, the Trapeze Red Devil, one of the all-time greatest tasting sauces ever, really pulled me back into it because it was $1 and it made, even if you tasted that over everything else, it tasted so great that I could live with that. But then I started to miss heat. So that's kind of partially how the blog got started. Was, I wanted to just dive out there and get back into the heat game after taking a little bit of time off. The pattern has kind of been for me to do stuff like that. I get really into something, I'll take some time off, then get really, really heavily back into it again. This one, I think I'm probably not ever going to depart again unless it's like life critical or something. Just because it's weird. You don't realize how much it's missing until you get back into it and you're like, wow, I wasted so much time not doing it. So anyway, that aside, so the way that I would eat these is what I'm going to show you now. So what I would do is I would first bite off the ends. And I'll do this for a couple reasons. First, it gives me a base. Now, this isn't fine gourmet anything. Nobody's ever going to say it is. But it gives you a starting base so that you can really get a good feel for what the sauce is doing. Also, what I formerly would do is I would put hot sauce in a plate and dip it. Now, the problem with that is, as you can see, stuff will start spilling out if you do that. So that's when I went to the pour method. And of course, the pour method is to basically take this and then just pour a little bit on it. Now, the problem with this one, though, is, as you can see there, you can get to some over saucing if you're not somewhat judicious with this. So, and I got a little on the plate. Let's scoop that up. Oof. Have a really good sauce. It's a very nice, flavorful sauce. Excellent representation of a Louisiana sauce with some very bad food. But I have found this way to be, the restrictor cap in this is not great, but I have found this to be probably the cleanest way of doing this. So you can, because you can, if you're doing this right, you can, right, pop it in there so it runs down a little bit further. I guess you could eat it with a fork. But let's just say you're taking lunch at your desk. Or you're gaming or something. This fake cheese is brutal. But let's just say you're at your desk or you're gaming or something. You gotta have something that is not gonna make you have to clean up the desk afterwards. So this method works pretty well for that as well. Rather than try to dip it and keep everything in your mouth and so on. This way you're just dealing with a little bit at a time. And the one thing about Hot Pockets, and this is why Louisiana style is one of my favorite sauces, is it is so adaptable. Like you can use this with pretty much any of the sauces because the astringency will just cut right in there and elevate the food as much as it can be elevated. Some of the fruit-based sauces won't work well with ham and cheese. You got just a tad of smokiness from the ham, you had a sort of a stab at a cheese sauce. Cheese in general, you know, has a little bit of a richness to it. So, Louisiana sauce, in my view, works the best. And then we just do a little bit right at the end. Not enough to make you scream or holler or anything. There you go. So yeah, a great representation of a Louisiana style sauce. Flavor is excellent. It does incorporate a little bit of the Tabasco as well. You can't really get any of that. I'm not getting any of that sweetness that Tabasco usually will have. But it'll sort of try to... so it adds it in there. It's trying to give you a best of all possible worlds. I think by using the combination of those three peppers, I don't understand why it's not listed out. But it's an excellent flavor. This is a very, very solid Louisiana style sauce. And if you want an introduction to the style, this is an outstanding example. Good one to get. It's not as good to me as the Irazu Cayenne, for instance, but that's my current favorite. But it is very, very solid, and I wouldn't turn this down at all. You wouldn't even have to wait for a pinch. It's just an excellent, excellent sauce. But there you have it. Our look at the Louisiana Gold, Louisiana style hot sauce.
Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.